Hello, lovely people of the internet. I hope you're doing all right today. Okay, so what are we going to do today? We've gone through various aspects of ilex config, but for the successful operations of ilex config, certain options or preferences need to be set in it. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, let's open the ilex config. We click on login to login. All right, so this is ilex config. So it can be accessed through options and then preferences, okay? Or you can access it through the shortcuts over here, or you can right click here, anywhere here, all right? And then go into preferences to open it, all right? I would like to go to options and preferences to open it. All right, so we have about 13 main categories to set in the system. All right, so we start with the LOV and OU options. All right, so LOV, it's list of values. All right, so you set the form opacity for the list of values. That is it. LOV. All right, so this makes it easier to see through the LOV and makes use of any interested parameters, all right, from the underneath form. So on the underneath form, that is on the LOV, so you will see through the LOV and see whatever parameters you are interested in underneath it. Okay, so how do you do it? So right now we can see the LOV opacity is at 90%. So that means yeah, you can see through a bit through the LOV form. All right, so you can either reduce it. You click here, all right, to reduce it. Okay, making it more transparent. Okay, or you can just click this one, all right, to make it more opaque, so it's like that. Okay, all right, so that is it. I keep it at 90. All right, okay, and then we have OU path option. Okay, we have two options here. So we have multiple OU paths, and then we have the single OU path. So what do they mean? Okay, so the single OU path, it means that you have users, a group of users, and you are going to create them in a single OU, that is one organizational unit. All right, so that is an option that you need to set when you are creating script for user creation in Active Directory. Okay, and then we have the multiple. The multiple means that you have multiple groups of users that you need to create in the AD, but not all of them are going into a single organizational unit. So you may have about 10 users going into one OU, and you can have another maybe 20 going into a different OU. So you can have multiple OU paths, okay, set, so that the system will know that the option that you have selected means that you want to create users or create scripts that will create users in multiple OUs. All right, so that is the option. All right, and then we come to secure app. So what are we saying here? So in order to secure the app when you are using it in an environment, you need to set the lock app, okay, and then the exit app parameters. All right, so what does this do? So specify the idle time in minutes where ilex config locks, so to secure it, right? So whenever you are not using, or when you've stopped using ilex config and 15 minutes is elapsed, then the app will lock. Right? I hope you understand the way I'm putting things. Sorry about that. I'm not very good with the English, so please bear with me, right? Okay, so this is the idle time in minutes where the system locks to secure the app. So you can set it to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you see, up to like 30 minutes. All right, so if we're not using ilex config, if you set it to 30, that means if you are not using the ilex config for the last 30 minutes, then the app will lock. All right, and then we have the exit app parameter. That means so this is to specify the idle time, right, after locking the app. So when the ilex config logs, it starts counting. All right, so for instance, this one, it means that after 30 minutes, okay, after the locking of the app, okay, the system will exit. All right, it will just kill it. All right, so that is the exit app we are talking about here, and you can set it right from 5 minutes through to about 60 minutes. All right. Sorry, I'm about losing my voice. Sorry about that. Okay, so I will set sorry about that again. I'll set this to 5 minutes, and I'll set this to 5 minutes, meaning that when I don't use the app for 5 minutes, the ilex config will lock, and after it has logged, after 5 minutes again, it will exit. All right, I hope you understand this one. Please make it clear in the comment section. If you don't understand anything, then I'll give more explanation to that. All right, and then we come to configuration. So whenever you have your network devices like the switches, smart switches, the hubs, the routers, and you are asked to do configuration, these some of the parameters that you need to set in order to create those configuration. Okay, so to create device configuration, you need to create a project first, and the project, we have the owner of the project. So for instance, this here we have the owner of the project. Okay, and then this is the one who is creating the project. All right, and then this is the supervisor. All right, and then the mode. All right, so this has got to do with LOV. Okay, LOV. So whenever you are doing configuration and you need to select commands. All right, so you can select commands. I've talked to you about this earlier on. You can select commands in singles. Okay, so where you select a command and you just apply it to a device. All right, or you can select in groups. All right, so that you can select commands in groups. When you choose the mixed mode, all right, it combines the two, so you can either select in singles or you can select in groups. So that is the mixed. All right, so I always put it on mixed so that I can select commands either in singles and also in groups. All right, okay, so let's move on to the next category. We have domain. I hope you know what domain is. So we have the SLD, that is the second level domain. All right, and then we have the TLD, that is the top level domain. So for instance, if I put here google.com, .com. I'll not put .com because I have to put the com over here. Okay, so we say this is the domain. So you don't need to type in the domain. You just specify the SLD and then a TLD, and Ilex config will take care of the domain. So I had Ilex and then div. All right, so this is what I have. Yes, you definitely need to set this right in order for you to create the script, okay, a working script to create users in AD. All right, okay, so then we come to the account. All right, so the account, it says these are the default options set for the command DSA DD user for all AD users to be created. All right, so some of the attributes are the common name, organizational unit, domain, SAM ID, password, and even how to deal with duplicates. All right, so let's see the command name. What do we have there? Okay, so the common name, we have the name arrangement. Okay, so under this common name category, you have the name arrangement where you have the FL, and then we have the LF, that is first name comes first and then the last name will follow, or the other way around. So it depends how you want your system to look like, okay, in dealing with name arrangement. So you set that one, and then we also have here use standard character. So this removes spaces. So when enabled, so it removes spaces, apostrophes, and hyphen from UPN and SAM ID. You know, UPN and SAM ID are some parameters of the DSA DD command. All right. So in order to take care of spaces, apostrophes, hyphens in our SAM ID and UPN, we need to select this one. Okay, if you don't, then it's going to put all of them there and it might cause problems in your system someday. Okay, I'll just enable it. I go to user. So when I enable this one, say creates in the default users container. You know, when you set up your AD, it has a users container. All right, so where all the users are created, or the default users are. All right, so it says here, hints, this does not affect the multiple user path Active Directory feature, of course, because this one is a single location. So if you are creating a script for multiple OU path option, then this one doesn't affect it. Okay, it doesn't affect it. It affects only the single OU path. All right. Okay, then we come to organizational unit OU. So you can clear it. You click this to clear it. All right, so we don't have anything. And if you want to specify an OU right under the AD, or the domain, you click here. All right, and then say put for instance, if I want to create a user, okay, who is in let's say IT department, okay, and the IT department OU is in, let's say, Launceston, okay. All right, I'll just so if the user you are going to create, okay, the user is an IT person, okay, so it's in IT department and in Launceston, okay. So what we do is that we put let's say IT, okay, IT department, let's say IT department first, okay, and then I'll click on OK, and then I'll click the OU, add OU again, and I'll say long system. Okay, and notice that it's being separated with what? With semicolon. Okay, so the user that I'm going to create is in IT department, and IT department is in Launceston. Okay, so this one works for single OU path. All right. Okay, so you can add more. So Launceston, so you say Launceston, so we are going to add another. We will say, let's say Tasmania. Okay, I put Tas. All right, so it keeps separating them with what? With semicolon. So that means when Ilex config sees this OU path, it's going to say, oh, wait a minute. The user is going to create, they are in IT department, and IT department in Launceston, and Launceston is in what? TAS. Okay. All right. So you need to create OU path for IT department and create OU path for Launceston, and also create OU path for TAS. But there is another category that if we set them to yes, okay, then Ilex config is going to create, it's going to look at your path and then create the necessary OUs. Okay, so in this case, if we set create OUs for users and groups, in what we are going to talk about later here, the system Ilex config will create IT department, it will create OU, and it will create TAS under the domain. Okay, so that your users can be created. All right, so this is what I have for you. And then we come to the SAM ID. All right, this is interesting. The SAM ID is very interesting. So let's take a closer look at it. This specifies the security account manager SAM name in the unique SAM account name for the user. So we have a maximum of 20 for Windows servers. All right, you can choose 10 or 15 as you wish. And then this is the suffix length. The suffix length, I think I've talked to you about the suffix length. Yeah. And then we have include part of ID in SAM ID generation. Okay, so in order to create the SAM ID, you need to specify these parameters: the maximum length, the suffix length. The suffix length consists of only zeros and ones. All right, so these two here means that whenever a duplicate is found, it will append the SAM ID with 00. Okay, because we have the length is 2. So the next duplicate will be 01. Okay, the next will be 10. The next will be 11. So if you select a suffix length of 2, that means Ilex config can take care of about 5 duplicates. That means including the original one. Okay, so if you increase it, that means you are going to increase the success rate of your script generation. All right, and then we also have include part of ID in SAM ID generation. So in order to deal again with duplicate in SAM ID creation, we can include parts of the ID, employees or students or whatever stuff that you have, they have ID. So you can choose to include parts of the IDs in the SAM ID generation. All right, so here you click here first, and then here you select the anticipated length of the ID. So for instance, if the length of the ID of the user or the employee or the staff is about 8, okay, you select 8, and then so this is just a guide, all right, and then you click on this one. So this one says give me possible values for the next parameter. So that is the end character to start with. Okay, so 8. So let me demonstrate a bit for you to see. So let's say I have ID like 3 and 3 4 5 2 1 0 1. So how many do we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so we say 8. Okay, so this is the anticipated length of the ID, which is 8. Okay, you click here and then it gives you the possible values where to start with. So it's saying that you can start with the first letter, second letter, after the 8th letter. Okay, so when you select 1, starting from, that means you are going to start from the 5 here. Okay, so you click this one, and this one says give me possible values for the next parameter. That is how many characters you want to include. Okay, you want to include from the ID. So here, after clicking this, I see I can select 1, I can select 2. Okay, that's the number of characters I need to include. Okay, if I select, let's say 5, I'm starting from the 5th character. That is 1 2 3 4 5. If I'm starting from the 5th character, that is the 2, and I click here to give me the possible values for the next parameter, which is 1 2 3 4. So I can select a maximum of 4 characters. So let's see, I can select a maximum of 1 2 3 4. Okay, I can select 1 2 3. I can select 1 2. I can select 1. Okay, and that is what has been populated over here. Okay, so it serves as a guide. All right, so after you have set this one, and then you are good to go. Then including this one, and then selecting the length of the characters that you want to include, and then the suffix length. So these 3 are the main parameters that makes generation of scripts successful. So either you increase or you decrease it depending on how you want your SAM IDs to look like. Okay, of course, when you choose you include a part of ID in SAM generation, your IDs or your SAM IDs will look a bit awkward, but then it is dealing with what? Duplicates. All right, the next is password. So this is the default password for all the users going to be generated, and we have must change password and password never expires. All right, so must change password, that means when the user logs on, the user must change the password, okay, after the first login. All right, then we have password never expires. That means it's never going to be expired. All right, so we go to geographic. This one deals with only single OU path option. Okay, as stated over here. Okay, so it will set the office, the department, and then the description. Okay, let's go to status. Status, here we have account expire. So when a new user comes in or a new employee comes in, you create an account for the person. Maybe if the person is going to be there for a year, you have to select the number of days, that 365 days and all that. Or you can choose to say never. So if you choose never, it means that the account is never going to be expired. And you can choose to disable account or not. And then we have the member of. So this member of is a group, okay, that the users belongs to. And again, This one applies to single OU user script generation. Okay, so this one, it doesn't apply to the multiple OU option. Okay, so the member of is the group where the user belongs. Okay, so this is the common name for the group. That's the group name. All right, that's the common name for the group. And then we have the organizational unit where the groups are allocated. So the same OU, you can just so this one means that this group is going to be in an organizational unit groups. Okay, so that means you have to create groups, or you let the system create for you. Okay, you can add more OU, or you can delete. Okay, all right. Next is OU path. The OU path consists of 3 parameters. So this one allows the system to create user OU path, group OU path, and then the group. Okay, so whenever you are creating users and that user is supposed to be in a particular OU and it's not there, or it's not created, the system will create it for you. Alex Config will create that OU for you if you enable it. Okay, and then if the group doesn't exist, it will create for you if you enable this. All right, so that is it. So we have a hint here. It says all the above options need to be enabled to activate the multiple OU path Active Directory. Because we are going to create users in multiple OU paths, it will not be uncommon that or likely that all the OU paths are created. Okay, so by enabling all these, okay, the Alex config will be able to create the necessary path, the necessary OUs needed for the user generation or creation. So this is what you need to set to do that. And then lastly, we have the user reset. The user reset is an important part of the script generation. If it's enabled, you can enable it here. If it's enabled, it means that as you are creating the script for user generation, you are also creating a script that will reset 9 parameters of those users. All right, so when you enable it and you specify the parameters, it means that the system will create a reset script. Okay, so anytime that you need to reset any parameters, like the password, must change password, can change password, password never expires, account expires, account disabled, the profile for the users, then we have the home drive, and then the home directory for the users. So this one here, it says, you can see a dollar sign over here. All right, so because you are creating for multiple users, you can't put a single or just so this one becomes a variable. You can't put a single name there for all the users to inherit from now. So replace some ID with the token dollar username dollar. Is case insensitive. So, and then in profile or home directory value. So this can be helpful for mapping bulk user folders. All right, okay, so this one the system will see it as, let's say if you created bob.jane, okay, so here automatically will be bob.jane for that particular user. You can have coffee.ama. All right, so you have here coffee.ama over here. Okay, so that is it. All right, so these are the parameters that you need to set in the system for the system to work efficiently or effectively. All right. So after you have done all that, you click on OK to set all those changes or to save all those changes. All right. Or you can either simply cancel it. All right. Okay. So this is what I have for you today. I hope I'll see you in my next video tutorial. Thank you very much and have a nice day.